It's now time for the Wed-Cast, brought to you by Filmedia Wedding Videography, 3-time Wedding Industry Award regional finalist. Here is your host, James. Welcome to the season finale of the Wed-Cast. My name is James as usual, and thank you for joining me here today on the 10th week of this fantastic show. When I started the show, I had no idea that it would be running for 10 weeks, and it's been an absolute pleasure and joy to do this. So the last 9 weeks, we have had 9 absolutely fantastic suppliers come on the show, so big thank you to them. So it's the season finale today, and I thought to myself, what would be the best way to end this series than have an actual wedding couple that I filmed with come on and talk about their experience within booking a wedding day and what they went through into the build-up. I've chosen today Sarah and Marti Pentney. I'm going to talk to them about their experience of their wedding day, and we'll go from there. So without further ado, I bring to you Sarah and Marti Pentney. Enjoy. Hi Sarah and Marti, welcome to the show. Nice to have you on. How are you both today?
Yeah, we're really good, thank you.
We're good, thank you.
It's great to have you on, and it's great to catch up because it's been such a long time. Obviously, you guys were married on the 14th of July, 2021. So what was that? Well, I can't believe it's 23 now. I mean, literally, we're nearly coming up to a 2-year wedding anniversary.
I know, crazy. It's flown.
Yeah, time has flown, to be honest, yeah.
It literally goes so quick. I mean, because obviously, originally, you guys were meant to be getting married on the 27th of May, 2020. But was it due to the COVID that kind of put it back for you both?
Yeah, so COVID obviously put a massive spanner into our wedding, and then we just had to keep postponing every single time we thought that we were, safe. We had to postpone it. I think we did it 4 times, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah.
Wasn't it a weird time? I mean, I don't want to focus too much on COVID tonight, but I mean, wasn't that a weird time to kind of live through that, and especially obviously the planning of the wedding, getting to that point and then finding you couldn't do your wedding because of this virus that literally just came out of nowhere?
I know. It literally was the worst timing. So obviously we decided to get married in, Mike proposed to me 2016, and then we kind of set a date 2018. And thought, 2020, give us a couple of years to plan the wedding.
Yeah.
And then literally a few months before, just COVID happened, and it just part of spanner in everything, and having to, obviously we had no choice but to cancel the wedding, and it was just such a devastating time. So I mean, I know that all bride and grooms that went through that period of time will kind of resonate with us that it was the worst time. Obviously I know the whole COVID thing was quite devastating for a lot of people anyway, but when you put your heart and soul into wedding planning and having this special day to celebrate your love with your families and friends, having to cancel it so many times was just heartbreaking.
Absolutely, and it had a real knock-on effect, not just the bride and grooms, but the wedding industry as a whole. As a lot of the suppliers on the show have mentioned over the last few weeks, it was a really bizarre time to live in, and luckily we're on the other side of it now, and obviously all these lovely bride and grooms who are getting married this year and next year don't have to go through that. But in a way, it's kind of a good thing that we've gone through it now to get to the other side, so it kind of leads the way for, people to kind of go back to normality. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that having that period of time where obviously everything was at a standstill, it kind of makes you appreciate everything more so now. So we were quite lucky. So I mean, our wedding, the 14th of July, was a few days before all of the restrictions kind of finished.
Yeah.
But we still got to celebrate our whole wedding with everyone there that we wanted. So we weren't really restricted on numbers because we had quite a large venue. We obviously had to deal with, a few restrictions. But
the only real thing was we had to have a table in the middle of the dance floor. We wasn't allowed a dance floor, so we all just had to dance around a table. But it's good there was no masks and everything like that. But it is crazy to think that how that all was back then, and now it's still around, and it's just kind of everyone's getting on with life normally, really.
And learning to live with it.
Absolutely. And I mean, okay, so put COVID to one side for a minute. So let's talk about your process to getting married. So was it Marti you proposed? Did you say?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So it's a kind of a sad one and a happy one, really. So
okay.
I kind of always said that I wouldn't get married and things like that. But then we lost our son in 2016, and and that was devastating for
Absolutely.
us. And,
yeah, I'm sorry.
It had brought us closer together.
Yeah.
And that kind of made me realise that actually I couldn't live without Sarah. So that made my decision, to be honest. So I did the traditional thing and asked Sarah's dad for permission, which he knew was weird anyway, because I invited him to go to the pub, which I've never done, and I haven't done since.
Oh, mate.
So he knew something was up. So so he said, of course, that's fine. And then it was New Year's Day, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah, so we went out in London the night before. So I was hungover, but Sarah was really hungover.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get her out of bed, come on, let's go, because I had everything organised with the family to record it, set a camera up and stuff by Casper's grave, where I decided to do it, and I had a series of letters kind of thing, really, and then and the last one was to turn around, and I was there on one knee.
Oh,
so it was kind of the perfect set for us, really.
Absolutely. And okay, so obviously she said yes, which is great. So instantly, Sarah, you're thinking, right, let's start planning this wedding. Do you have you always dreamed of an ideal wedding growing up?
Yeah, I suppose. I think everyone kind of envisions what their wedding's going to be like. But literally, it must have been hours after my propose. I was obviously in this magical bubble thinking, oh my God, we're actually going to get married.
Yeah.
So I wanted to set a date that night, and he had to kind of rein me in a little bit. We need some time. We're just going to, have a bit of a longer engagement. And then we'll think about planning a wedding. So we actually didn't set our date until 2018 after baby Marti was born.
Yeah.
Obviously, having our little baby, it kind of, again, just brought us so much more closer together and thought, this is the perfect time to, set a date. Okay. So, so it was 2018, we set the date. And then I basically had full control over the whole planning.
Okay.
Marti wasn't really interested in planning the wedding. So he basically just said, this is your budget, you just do whatever you want. So, I went to you for quite a few things, didn't I? And tried to get you involved. We made decisions together and things like that, the final decisions, but really,
I knew that Sarah wanted everything her way, and that was easier for me.
Yeah. So Sarah, what was the first thing you thought? Right, we're going to get married now. What did you do first? Did you think, right, I'm looking at the venue first, or were you thinking dress first? Just talk to me about how your mindset was about what to book and how you went along them sort of lines.
Yeah, well, I think the first thing was finding the right venue. Obviously, in Cambridgeshire, there's so many lovely venues, but I wanted our venue to just be perfect. So we went to see quite a few venues. We liked the idea of getting married in Pentney Abbey, because obviously that's our surname, so we thought it would be quite quirky to get married there, but it just wasn't. So we literally went to quite a few different venues. Again, none of them, they were all beautiful, but it wasn't really us. And then I just so happened to just come across a website for Longstow Hall. Yeah. And then I had a look at it. I thought, oh, this looks really, really nice. I think we should go and have a look. So they had an open day, so I dragged Marti along with me. And as soon as we got there, we both just felt instantly that this was the right venue for us. Yeah. It had the beautiful, the island with the where you can actually get married outside. It was on its own separate island with, you know, there were swans there and everything, and it just looked just stunning. So we obviously went home, we had a look, we talked about how much it was going to cost and got a bit more information. And then it was basically kind of like setting the date that was right for us. So with obviously Longstow Hall, trying to get a registrar to be there on the right day was really, really tricky.
Yeah.
So once we got our date in mind, we then decided to find a different way, excuse me, like coughing, find a different way that we can actually do our wedding. So we actually spoke about having a celebrant, you know, do our wedding, so then it'd be, you know, a lot more personal, and we wasn't restricted on what time they could be there.
Yeah.
And then I looked up some celebrants and found the perfect one for us, which was Rebecca
Waldron.
Yes, White Rose Ceremony.
She was on the guest. She was the guest on last week's show. Lovely. She's a lovely lady, Rebecca. I've got a lot of time for her, and I said, as I mentioned last week, we've worked at many weddings together, but unfortunately, we didn't get to work at your wedding. What happened? What happened to Rebecca?
So literally the day. So we've been in contact with Rebecca for quite a few years. As soon as we set our date. So we got to really know Rebecca, and we just fell in love with her, didn't we? She was just such a kind woman. She literally just went out of her way to, you know, accommodate us, give us the wedding that we just wanted. And having her in our wedding was just, again, it was so important to us because she was just perfect. And then it was the day before the wedding, we got a phone call from her husband to say that she had been taken unwell.
Oh. Yeah.
Wasn't actually able to do our wedding for us, and it was just such a shock because I just couldn't imagine her not being there.
Yeah.
But even while she was in hospital, she just organised everything. She made sure that there was a replacement to do our wedding the next day, which she really didn't have to do. But yeah, we still had her whole wedding. Everything that she already organised, you know, the reading, the vows, everything, it was all her to a T. And it was just such a shame. I just sobbed.
Yeah.
As soon as we got that phone call that she wasn't going to be there, obviously, I felt so sad for her, but selfishly as well, I felt sad that she wasn't going to be part of our wedding.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
However, she did send a replacement.
She's all well now, so she's all happy, and yeah.
Yeah. As I said, she's as I spoke to her last week for the podcast. She's now she's now moved over to Wales. So yeah, good luck to Rebecca, and yeah, it's always nice to have a catch up with her as well. So just quickly going back to your day. So okay, so before we get to the actual wedding itself, so your dress, by the way, was stunning. Where did you get your dress?
I actually got my dress. I bought it from Adela Bridal in Norwich.
Right, did you? Okay.
So I've been to quite a few different, you know, wedding shops, just trying to find the right dress. And I already had in mind, because I'd watched, you know, I can't Say Yes to the Dress or something. That was literally watching on repeat. And I fell in love with a designer in London.
Yeah.
So I always wanted one of her dresses. So I went to a few different places that stocked her dresses, but couldn't find the one that I wanted. And then I came across Amy from Adela Bridal, and she helped me find the dress. I wasn't, you know, expecting to find it on that day, but I literally saw my dress and I had to have it. It was literally everything that I wanted in my dress. Obviously, it had a few tweaks, so I decided to go for an extra skirt to make the dress a lot bigger during the ceremony, so then I could take it off in the evening. So it looked like I had two different dresses, but
yeah, I remember.
I only had one.
Yeah.
So the dress was just perfect for me. But when I bought it, so I think I bought it, it must have been 2019. It must have been. So I had the dress for quite some time, and I was quite unsure whether I was gonna still love it. But every time I saw it, I just loved it. But I lost quite a lot of weight since then, so it had to be taken in drastically as well. So,
okay. Wow.
But I don't regret it. I loved it, and even still now, I mean, I tried it on. When did I try it on? I got it out a couple of months ago, and I just tried it on.
You tried it on.
I was like, I want to get married again.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, as I said, I had a lady a couple of weeks back from a bridal boutique, and she said, when it comes to your wedding dress, you kind of, when you put it on, you know. I mean, I'm talking from a man's point of view, so I don't really relate to that. But from a woman's point of view, and from the wedding boutique, what she said is you kind of know, and it feels right, and then that's the one that you go for. She also did say, which is quite funny, when it comes to your dress, if it gets muddy or messy on the day, it shows you've had a really good day. How did your dress stand up after the end of the day? Was it still looking?
Yeah, my dress was up. My dress still looks great. It's obviously a little bit dirty, obviously from dragging across the floor. But I mean, we got married on such a hot day,
it was
so
boiling.
I had no mask or anything like that.
So Marti, I noticed you had a tweed suit. First of all, tell me about what made you choose tweed, and whereabouts did you get your suit from? Because it was a brilliant suit.
Yeah, so we got it from a place called Fancy Frock over in Spalding, and it was actually Sarah that chose the suit. She met, I think Danny was his name, wasn't it?
Yeah, Danny.
Yeah, Danny.
Met him at a wedding fair.
Yeah, met him at a wedding fair, and I think he had the suit up on one of the mannequins, and she was like, "Yeah, I want Marti to wear that."
And he had in the matter, so I took you along to actually try it on, and everything that I saw at the wedding fair was exactly what you had, including the bow tie as well, because you had a separate bow tie to all of the groomsmen. So yeah.
When you chose that suit, then did you realise how hot it was going to be on the day? I guess you didn't.
Well, no, we were supposed to get married in May. May is a nice weather, but it's not hot.
Yeah, so having the wedding in the end in the summer, it was blistering heat, and my groomsmen weren't very happy with me, to be honest.
I can imagine. Okay, so obviously you had your wedding dress, you got the suit. So then, are you thinking? So did you go to any wedding fairs or anything like that?
Yeah, so I went to a few wedding fairs. Obviously, took my bridesmaids along with me. So I've actually found quite a few of the suppliers from wedding fairs. I already had like a few in mind that I wanted anyway, but just wanted to keep the options open before I actually booked something. But yeah, I loved going to them. It's always nice seeing different suppliers, and even the ones that you wouldn't necessarily think of. So, for instance, I went to one in, where did I go? Was it Spalding? I went to one of their wedding shows, and there was a girl there that designed headpieces for the wedding, and I never thought to even think about getting anything like that. But she also did like bespoke custom jewellery as well.
Nice.
So she actually did my headpiece for me, and she made it so personal to me. So she knew exactly what I wanted. And yeah, I had, little bits of blue in mind, just to, use something old, something new, something probably something blue. So I always wanted something blue. And with Casper as well, we associate him with butterflies. So she had these beautiful, like, crystal butterflies as well that she put in my headpiece. But I met her from my wedding fair, who I would never necessarily would have met if I hadn't already gone. So the wedding fair. Great fun.
So any brides and grooms who are getting married this year and listening, you say now would be the perfect time to wander around to wedding fairs and just have a little look, because as you said, there's some ideas that they might not necessarily think of. Think that's good advice?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely go to them. There's nothing to lose by just spending, half a day at a wedding fair. You get to meet so many lovely people. And, you can even try out a little bit of wedding cake as well, because they've got samples everywhere.
I'm not going to lie.
That was good.
That's one of the reasons I go to wedding fairs, just for the cake, to be honest.
That's exactly why I
went. Yeah. Okay, right. So is that where you met your photographer? Because you had Ryan, didn't you? Ryan Jarvis.
Yeah, so I met Ryan years ago. So he's actually done a few of my friends' weddings. And his work is just stunning. So it was no doubt that we was going to choose him. And luckily, he was available for our original wedding date, the one in May 2020.
Yeah.
And he was so good with us as well, all the way through, you know, postponing our wedding. And he was always available on our wedding day, which was great because he was who I wanted regardless. So there was a thing in two of our friends' weddings that we'd been to where all of us exact bride.
Yeah.
And I said to Ryan, obviously yourself as well, that having that captured was important to him because it's just like a tradition. So, and he went along with it as well. So that's how I met Ryan. I met him at our friend's wedding.
I absolutely love Ryan, and to work with, he's such a good person to work with. He's a fun person, and he takes the best shots, and he gets people where they need to be, and yeah, a total professional. And hopefully next season I'm going to try and get him on the Wed-Cast because I think he'd be really interesting to interview. So yeah, that's the plan for next season. But yeah, Ryan is great, and I'm pretty sure that he recommended me to you. I'm pretty sure that's how you guys found me.
Yes, absolutely. So we, again, with postponing of the dates and everything like that, our original videographer couldn't do any of our dates that we had put forward to him, so we were kind of really stuck. And then I went back to Ryan and asked him, do you recommend someone? And he gave me quite a few different names, but he said definitely go with James. He's brilliant. You guys will love him. So that's what we did. So we contacted you, and yeah, and you are great.
Well, I mean, thank you.
Really well.
I mean, so you always wanted to have a videographer?
Yeah, definitely. I said to Marty that, you know, you've got your photos, but actually watching your wedding back, because there's so many different parts of your day that you will just naturally forget. I mean, even for me now, I've so many different things that I've forgotten. Same with you, I'm sure, Marty.
Yeah.
And having your wedding video to watch, you know, whenever you want it, it's so nice. I think I've watched it like 20 times. I love it.
I'm glad you like
it makes me cry every time.
I'm glad you're happy with it. And the thing is, what's interesting about doing this with you guys today is, see, when I edit, I spend so much time looking at you guys editing the video. And then I put that video together, and once it's finished, I give it to you, and then I might not look at it again. So today and yesterday was the first time I've looked back at your wedding since I gave it to you. And I don't ever really watch back my work, and I watch, and then it kind of gives you memories of that day. I mean, there's some fantastic moments in your day, like even the piggyback race, which you guys had with your bridesmaids. It's so much fun, and that's the sort of thing that I love to capture. It's the moments that you've got all your family and friends there, and you're just having fun, and you had the best day. So yeah, I'd personally recommend to bride and grooms having a wedding video. Obviously, I'd say that because I'm a videographer. But I mean, to hear a bride and groom say that it's really important to have, I think, you know, the amount of people that I've met at weddings and go, oh, we got married last year, but we don't have a videographer, we regret it. So you'd highly recommend it, I guess.
Oh, 100%. I've said to so many people, you know, just save that extra bit of money. It's worth every single penny, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, everyone always hires a photographer. You know, they think, oh, I haven't actually got the budget to have a videographer, but what you get out of having a videographer, you've got your video for life, and it's just so important. So I always say to everybody, just budget. Invest that little bit and have one.
Budget for it, 100%. Yeah. So I was looking at your video, right? So we'll start today. So we get to the day. We're at Longstow Hall. Right, I've got a couple of stories to tell you from the day myself, but we'll get to that shortly. Some quite funny ones. But let's quickly go to your bridal prep in the morning. So in the morning, I captured yourself, Sarah, getting ready. I didn't capture Marti. I'm not sure where Marti was. I guess you were somewhere else, were you, Marti?
Yeah, we was in the lodges where we were staying, and I was with all my groomsmen.
Yeah.
And I had one of your colleagues. She was there, taking all out. Was she there?
She was Ryan.
Oh, she was Ryan's. Okay.
Yeah, she's Ryan's colleague. Yeah, no, you had just me on the day.
I was with anyway.
Yeah. So she was capturing you guys, getting ready. I mean, it doesn't take as long for guys to get ready, really, does it? I mean, they've just got to do the cufflinks and the tie and everything. But for the women's side, and you had quite a big bridal party, didn't you, Sarah?
Yeah. So I had my 4 bridesmaids, and then I also had my little flower girl. I had 2 flower girls actually, but the eldest one, she wanted to have her hair done. And then I also had both of our mums there as well, so we treated them to having their hair and makeup done too. So there was quite a few of us, and it was just, we was in, although we was in like a big room to get ready, it was just manic. And time just flew so quickly. And so we were there from 10:30, I think we got there.
Yeah.
And then our wedding wasn't until, what time did you get married? 3?
I think,
Yeah. So that whole time just literally flew so quickly.
It does. It goes so fast. And I think I might have even mentioned it to you before I even met you on the day. I was like, guys, just make sure you take some time because it goes so quick. And I say it to all brides and groom because the day does go quick and you spend all this time planning it. So you've got to enjoy every moment of it. But it, as you just said, that morning goes so quick. But it's not just the morning; it's the whole day, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to add with like having yourself there, really, like videographer, is that there's like certain moments you capture, like speeches, the reactions of people at certain points, like a first dance and things like that. It's not the same if someone's just, one of your guests is recorded on their phone or things like that. It's nice being able to watch their memories back, and you won't get the same sort of memory, and you'd miss out points when you're just looking at photos, to be honest.
Well, we're definitely going to talk about your speech, and we're definitely going to talk about your first dance. We'll do that in a minute because there's a few things I want to talk to you about that as well, because absolutely brilliant, both of them, for 2 different reasons. But let's just quickly go back to the bridal prep in the morning. So I noticed that you had, was it Ellie Jane? She did your hair and makeup. She's fantastic, by the way, very, very good. So quick shout out to her. But like things like you had like matching personalised robes and stuff, Sarah, which I think is lovely. It's a really nice touch to have.
Yeah, so again, obviously, I thought about everything. So there wasn't really anything that I kind of left untouched. And it was only like the last, well, I think it was like the last 2 months up to lead up to the wedding. I knew what I wanted. I knew I wanted to have, special gifts for all the bridesmaids and, our mums. And also you can have all of that to kind of look back on as well. I wanted just everything just to fit in perfectly. So yeah, just had it all there. Even having shots of my dress, the girls' dresses, we all had our personalised hangers as well. Just like the little touches, really. They go so far.
It does, yeah, it really does. And when you watch it back, you see all these lovely little pieces that you've got over the time of the preparation. And I think, you can get stuff like this, like the matching gowns and stuff like this, and not just that, but other little pieces like on Etsy and stuff like that, places like that where you wouldn't necessarily think. But I'm not sure where you got yours, but they are within budget, and you can do it at a good price. That's what I'm saying, and it really adds to photography and video.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, I did actually get all of mine from Etsy. I actually had the robes made before, so that was for the original wedding, and luckily I didn't have any. The only ones that I had was the hangers, so I had to screw off and just like cover over where the paint was. But yeah, it is just little things. It doesn't cost that much money, but it does go so far.
Yeah, no, it really does. Right, okay, so we've done the bridal prep, so now we're at Longstow Hall. Obviously, that's where you get married. Longstow Hall is stunning, by the way. The only time I've ever been there was obviously for your wedding, but I'd love to go back there again because it's such a beautiful place. So, great choice, guys. Really, really nice, and I think it really helped, obviously, because we had the sunshine. It was a lovely July day, wasn't it? So, really, really nice. And you've got lovely water there, and it's all just beautiful. Okay, so we get to the service. Now you guys are having it outside. Now, as you mentioned previously, it's kind of like a little island, isn't it, that you kind of walk out to?
Yeah. So the idea is you know, your dad would walk you down the aisle, and then you'd start, then you'd have the handover, and then the bride and groom would then walk over the little bridge into its own little island bit, and that's where the whole ceremony is kind of held. Yeah.
It was lovely, absolutely lovely. And so obviously Rebecca wasn't there, but you had a replacement. And so you kind of had like a different service, because you did something with, was it with the buddleia, a flower part of the service? I mean, we talked sort of last week, me and Rebecca talked about different types of services. Just quickly, just tell us what you did. Was it you were planting a seed? How was it?
Yeah, so it was actually Rebecca's idea. So again, we wanted something really personal in our wedding. And, you know, we wanted to, although Pastor isn't with us, we wanted to have him part of our wedding, and he's still a massive part of our family. So Rebecca came up with the idea of a way of incorporating him into our wedding. So she came up with the buddleia, something to do with like attracting butterflies, which is what, like I said, we associate Casper with butterflies. So her idea was that we would, you know, put some soil into the buddleia, and then we'd water it, and just then we'll have our string quartet like playing some really lovely music while we're doing that.
Absolutely, yeah, lovely.
Which is really a part of the ceremony. It was just lovely.
Well, what I remember actually, while we were on that island, I actually remember a butterfly. I think it landed on one of you. There was a butterfly in there with us. I'm pretty sure I saw one. I'm not sure if you did.
Yeah. Yeah, some people told us about that. We didn't see it. We was in our little moment of just us two. I forgot about everybody. It was just a really personal moment for us, and so many people said that, you know, this little butterfly. Yeah, it's just beautiful. I wish I'd seen it myself.
How do you combat nerves when you're standing down at the end there doing your things and you've got everyone watching you? How did you find that? Because, I mean, a lot of bride and grooms worry about everyone staring at them. Is it just the fact that you kind of just get into looking at each other and just not focus on the fact that you've got people watching you? How did you find that?
Well, so because obviously we had a celebrant perform our wedding. We actually got legally married in August 2020.
Yeah.
And our ceremony then was so different than the wedding that we actually had, the ceremony that we actually had. I had incontrollable laughter. I laughed my way all through the vow to the point where we nearly had to do it again because I just could not get anywhere. And that was down to nerves. I wasn't even nervous because it was only 4 of us there. It was like literally 2 of our best friends.
I think it was more emotion, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes when you're going to cry, it kind of brings on laughter, and it was a bit like that, and it was literally the whole way through. Sarah was hysterically laughing, in tears laughing, and then that caused all of us to laugh, and it was contagious. And yeah, the whole ceremony we were just laughing, and because of COVID, there was only 4 of us there, so it's us 2 and our 2 witnesses as well.
Yeah.
And we were just laughing all the way through. But then Sarah was disappointed in herself that she laughed all the way through. So then
I just made sure.
Got to put on a performance kind of thing. And like me personally, I've been in bands and stuff like that, so I'm used to being up there in front of people. So
I mean, that is one thing.
Yeah. I suppose that because it's all of our friends and family, I don't know. I mean, yeah, and I obviously have Prosecco in the morning anyway, so, you know, getting ready.
Yeah.
So that helps with the nerves. So definitely, any brides out there, if you get off of Prosecco the morning of your wedding, definitely take it because you're going to need it.
But not
and it does
too much.
help.
Not too much though. You don't want to be sort of swaying down the aisle. Yeah.
Okay, definitely not.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, the only reason I ask you about nerves is, I mean, that's one thing that I hear a lot from brides, especially. Oh my God, I'm so worried about everyone watching me. But the thing is, obviously, you're there for that moment. You're there to get married, and it's nice that everyone's there watching you. But I think nerves sometimes do take over. You know.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I suppose I weren't nervous, but with my emotions, I'm not very good at talking about emotions. So, and that's the whole point of it, isn't it? And although I was trying in my head, this is like a show for everyone kind of thing. And yeah, as soon as I started talking about like seeing Sarah for the first time walking down the aisle, I was just trying to. I looked grumpy, to be honest, because I was just trying to hold back the tears.
Yeah. Well, it's an emotional day. It's really emotional
side.
Yeah. No, and that's fair enough. You know, I mean, I think everyone does go through that with an emotion side, but luckily there wasn't laughter the whole way through it, Sarah. So you got through it. So well done.
Yeah, I don't actually think I laughed once. I think I was on my best behaviour.
You were on your best behaviour. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, so then we're going to move on. So once you guys are married, we then go on and we do obviously some couple shots with you guys, which is lovely, and then we do a big group shot where that's the first part of the day where me and Ryan actually got told off by Longstow Hall. You might not know about this. So standing on the wall taking this group shot, they told us off, which is a little bit naughty of us. But sometimes you, as a videographer and a photographer, you kind of have to get in that place to get them shots. I mean, back then when I did your wedding, I didn't have my drone. Nowadays, I just put my drone up in the air, but that would have been amazing if I'd had my drone on that day. Then I wouldn't have had to stand up on a wall. But sometimes, as I said, you have to, from our point of view, you have to, you only get sometimes a limited time to get that shot, and you want to make it just perfect. So, yeah, so we got in trouble for that one. And then the other one we got in trouble for was, obviously, you guys... we did the iconic shot at Longstow Hall, where you're standing in front of the actual hall itself, and then we go the other side of the river. We kind of get a reflection of you. Do you know the shot I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly the shot.
I think it's on their website. But me and Ryan decided it'd be a good idea to cross the river without being allowed. So we got across the river anyway. They told us off, but that's another story. But yeah, that's just one of the things I remember from your wedding. But yeah. It was a good shot, definitely worth.
Though, it was one of the best shots of the wedding. The looking back now, it was a stunning shot. Yeah, so I'm glad that you actually did get in trouble for that.
Sometimes you just got to break the rules.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, we did feel a bit naughty, but the thing is, as you said, it was 100% worth it to get that shot. It was worth it to get the shot. So yeah, sometimes, as I said, you have to just break the rules a little bit. I know it's naughty. You have to break the rules a little bit to get what you need, and that's a shot that you know is, as I said, it's an iconic shot for Longstow Hall, but it's also one of your best shots in your wedding. So it's definitely worth doing. Right. So we did a couple shots. We do all that, then we go inside. Then it's time for some speeches. So Marti, I want to talk to you first because I think this is the part where I'm going to talk about your speech. So previous to your wedding, from what I remember, I think you telling me this. You were a best man for, was it a family member or a best friend? And you sang a song.
Yeah, that was, I was best man for my brother. So, I'm not normally very good at speaking. I'll probably stutter a little bit and, don't get across what I want to say, but I've been good at, I don't know, writing silly songs, really. So, I wrote it. I just had a tune on my ukulele, and I wrote it in no time, to be honest. And I think you helped me as well, didn't you? Yeah. Sarah helped me as well with that one, and she was laughing throughout. And it's good when you get that reaction for the first time. Obviously, when I played it to Sarah 100 times, she's a bit bored of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I think I told you to start for quite a few times.
Yeah, so I was well prepared, and that went down really well, and everyone was
loved it,
impressed with it, and it went down really well.
I think it went viral, didn't it? It was really popular. There's a lot of people watched it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it went viral, but yeah, quite a few people. We had 2,000 views on it.
Wow.
Finland.
Yeah, viral. Cambridgeshire viral.
So then you thought to yourself, actually, I'm going to do a song for my own wedding day. Did Sarah know you were going to do a song?
No, so Sarah kept telling me she wants a song. She's going to be disappointed if she don't get a song. And I kept saying, I'm too busy. I've got all my work to do. I've got this to do, that to do. Like, loads going on in life. I just don't have time. Like, I wrote a speech, but I just don't have time. And like, you're always around, so I can't do it and all that. But actually, yeah, I'd wrote one. So it was a complete shock for her that I had it.
To be honest, I actually questioned whether I should even marry you, because you knew how important me having a song at the wedding, personalised by you, it was just so important for me. And when it's not happening, you need to just literally get out of your head, because you're going to be so disappointed on the wedding day. So I did just have to get out of my head. I was really upset. And then as soon as he'd done his actual talking part of the speech, and he got his little ukulele out, I was just...
You were ready.
Yeah. I could have cried. I'm so excited and nervous as well, because I didn't know what he'd written.
And Marti, what a song. It was brilliant, and what I loved about it was the humour inside, and how the fact that people are going to have to help her remember to spell her name, Pentney. That was brilliant, obviously spelling it the way it is, and yeah, fantastic. So what we're going to quickly do, if you don't mind, I'm just going to play a little clip, and just so people can hear just a little bit of your song, because for me that was a massive highlight of your wedding day, one that I'll never forget. Obviously, I film a lot of weddings, but to see that was something quite unique. So I'm just going to play a little clip now, Marti, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
There was a girl from West Beach living alone with a dog. She had no hot water. That's when I came along and I said, "Hello, my name is Marti, and I'm here to fix your boiler." She said, "Oh yeah," and I never left. This girl took me to Egypt, which she paid for. It was the best holiday. We did stargazing and explored. So I asked her to be my girlfriend. I thought I could get used to this, but she's played a fantastic game. Paid for nothing since. Now it's our wedding day, here with our friends and family, here to celebrate our lives from here. Now it's our wedding day. Now you're a Pentney, you'll have to live your life. Say no, it's Pentney. Nobody can spell it. After a few months of knowing her, she asked me to move in. So I said my mum won't be happy, but go on then. Since then we've moved a couple times and made memories along the way. Even had some dogs and fish, but gave most of them away. Decided to start a family, and we had our little boy. Though it wasn't his time, he opened up my eyes to see I couldn't live without you, and I'll never leave your side. I'm never leaving, even if you wanted it. Now it's our wedding day, here with our friends and family, here to celebrate our lives from here. Now it's our wedding day. Now you're a Pentney, you'll have to live your life. Say no, it's Pentney, 'cause nobody can spell it. After a couple years went on, we decided to try again. I knew we'd have a boy because I only produce men. I'm thinking of a name. We wanted something that said strong, confident, handsome, perfect, funny. So we called him Marti. He's our little ray of sunshine, our perfect little boy. He's a little nutter, hardly plays with his toys. Instead he'll dance with us in the kitchen to Baby Shark or Grease. But he gets his moves from me because his mum's got 2 left feet. Now it's our wedding day, here with our friends and family, here to celebrate our lives from here. Now it's our wedding day. Now you're a Pentney, you'll have to live your life saying, no, it's Pentney. Because nobody can spell it. Hold your horses. Can we all look at my new wife? See how beautiful she is. With her hair and her makeup. I don't get this. I get her wearing no makeup. Living in a dressing gown. And she only really showers when she goes out. But all joking aside, I've married my best friend. And I promise that I'll love you even after my time ends. 'Cause you are everything to me, and I'll never make you sad. I'll be everything you want in a man. So you wanted this song, and this one is for you. 'Cause it's all about you. It's all about you, Susie. It's all about you. It's all about you. It's all about you.
Right, okay, so that was brilliant, and as I said, absolutely fantastic, Marty. And have you got any more songs planned for anyone else's wedding coming up?
No, I haven't took any bookings yet.
Not
But
taking any bookings.
I keep waiting if someone's going to ask me to do a song and no one in. So I think all my friends are sick of me.
Oh, where can you? We need to get you online taking bookings. We need to get you online taking bookings for weddings, mate. I think definitely. I think there's a market there.
Well, saying that, he spent the whole song just taking the mickey out of me, really.
Yeah.
But it was great, though. It was so good, so good. Okay, so obviously we've done the speeches, then we go to the cake. We do some cake cuts. So you had a 4-tier cake, is that right? 4-tier? I think it was a 4-tier wedding cake.
I think so.
I think it was.
Yeah. We had different flavours in each one.
Oh, do you remember the flavours?
I do. One of them was banoffee, Biscoff, chocolate orange, and lemon. Yeah.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, literally absolutely stunning. And what I remember from it, you had it was kind of like a big hoop with flowers around it, and it was kind of like in the middle of that hoop. It just looked stunning. Because obviously you had, were they white roses you had on the day? Were they roses? I'm pretty sure they were roses.
Yeah, they were. So it was literally part of my wedding flowers. So yeah, they were all in the cake as well. Yeah. My florist was just fantastic. We've known her for years, so shout out to Janet and Jane. Jane was just fantastic. She just got my flowers just perfect, and nothing was too much for her. So when I said to her, can we add some extra flowers just to put in the cake, she was absolutely no problem. Nothing was too much for her. And she also, so I know you want to talk about the cake, but going back to Jane, she actually took a bouquet of flowers down to Catherine's grave as well.
Yeah,
so
I remember this on the day.
Was the same as mine.
Yeah, I remember this on the day. I remember her going down there. I remember she showed up in the morning, didn't she? And she said, I'm going to go and do that for you, which is absolutely so lovely of her to do. Yeah. And what was her name? So we can find her on Facebook if anyone wants to find her. Do you know?
Florist.
Can you say again, Sarah? Sorry.
Janet and Jane Florist.
Janet and Jane Florist. Yeah, I'd highly recommend them. And that's one thing I haven't had on this season of the Wed-Cast, a florist. So I might be able to get in touch with her, hopefully for next season, which would be really nice to have a chat with her and see all the things she does for weddings. So yeah, definitely. It's always good to hear recommendations as well. And just going back to your cake, where did you get your cake from? Do you remember?
Sugar Buttons. So she's based in Norwich. And she's fantastic.
How did you find it picking a cake? Was it because obviously I have had a wedding cake lady on here a couple of weeks ago, and they kind of went behind the scenes of what goes on for wedding cakes. But she sort of the lady I spoke to, she sort of said they don't tend to let you pick up the cake; they deliver it to you. Is that what you found with your lady? who did the cake for you?
Yeah, she delivered our wedding cake. She was there all the morning. I went down to see her when she arrived, and when she was setting up the cake. So it was actually nice to see her in person as well, because she was one that I'd had to book last minute because our previous cake maker just cancelled on us for no real reason. So
you had a few people, like, you know, a bit of bad luck with some of your suppliers. Obviously, you said your videographer, your cake lady, and obviously with Rebecca. So yeah, you had everything thrown at you leading up to your wedding day, didn't you?
Well, we also had our band in the evening as well. They cancelled us 2 days before.
Yeah, they did actually. Yeah, because they got COVID. Or lead singer got COVID.
So we had to find a new band literally last minute as well.
Wow, but everything happens for a reason. We got to the day, we did it, and it all went absolutely fine. So it's just that initial stress leading up to it when things like that happen, and it's uncontrollable, isn't it? And you can't. There's not much you can do, especially if someone's ill or if they've got COVID. You know.
Yeah, we just had to get on with it. So I just kept thinking, come on, who's next?
Yeah.
Cancel it.
So, as I mentioned earlier on, you guys did like a piggyback race, which was really fun. I remember filming that, and also you did a bouquet throw. I mean, now the thing is with the bouquet throw is some brides want to do it, some brides don't. They don't want to ruin their flowers. Do you think it's worth doing? Do you think it's a nice? Now you look back at it on the video. Are you pleased that you had that?
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm glad. I always knew that I wanted to do a bouquet throw anyway, but I cheated because I used one of my bridesmaids ones instead.
But a lot of brides do. All the ones I've done in the past, including yours, they don't use their own flowers. They get the bridesmaids ones, and I think that's okay. Do you know what I mean? So then you can keep your flowers so they don't get thrown. But yeah, I think that's really nice.
It's a nice tradition as well, isn't it, for the weddings? Like that's what everyone does to show who's next to get married, isn't it? So it's just a fun thing to do.
Well, it's quite funny because obviously I didn't get to see like where I was throwing. I didn't know who was standing where, so I literally had no idea because I didn't want to be set up or anything. And you got a really nice slow-mo video of it, which was great. But it was actually my maid of honour that caught the flowers, and she kept saying that she didn't leap for it. But looking back at the video, she was leaping for it, and her boyfriend Ash just ran off.
Yeah, she went for it, and literally, if you watch that video back, she literally just grabs it out of the air. Yep, she wanted that bouquet.
And to be honest, I wanted her to have that bouquet as well, so I was so glad she caught it.
Yeah. Okay, so first dance. So now this is something we need to talk about because it was such a lovely first dance. I mean, a couple of things that struck me from your first dance, because it was so light at that time at night. I mean, you obviously still did it. So normally with the first dance, you normally have it's dark and it's kind of like, but the room you were in, it was still lit, you know, the daylight. But it actually worked really well because you had all your guests kind of circle you, from what I remember.
Yeah, so originally, if you get married at Longstone Hall, you'd get married in the you'd have your first dance in the marquee on the dance floor. So when we had our meeting the day before, there was no dance floor down, and I was a little bit shocked because I thought, even though we can't, guests can't dance or anything like that because we're still under restrictions, I still expected there to be a dance floor. And there wasn't. So we'd be doing our first dance on carpet, and obviously I hadn't prepared for that. I was prepared to dance on a dance floor. I had like shoes, especially, and we rehearsed our first dance as well. So we had like a dance thing.
It was choreographed.
So when we were speaking to Mercedes before, when we had our meeting, I said, is there anything that we can do about this dance floor, because I can't dance on carpet. And actually, it wasn't the day before. It was the day of. It was the day of the wedding.
You suggested it. You said, can we do it in there? And they said, yeah, fine.
So they had this separate room where you kind of walk through to go outside if you want to, but it wasn't really being used.
Yeah.
And it was stunning. The big chandelier had all of the windows all around the room. The lighting in there was perfect. And I asked the band that we had as well. I said, can you make it work? So this was all on the day of the wedding, and everyone agreed. So then we got to actually do our first dance in this beautiful grand room, which was amazing. It would have been so. It's better doing it in there than it would have been if we did have the dance hall. So I'm just glad that these little things happen, but you work back around it. And
like you say, everything happens for a reason, and we didn't have a dance floor, but then that then opened the opportunity to then us see that we could actually have our first dance in that grand room, which we would have never had before, and our first dance video would never have been the same. So it was that was just lovely.
What I loved about your dance, as well as I said previously, you kind of choreographed it. How long did it take you to come up with that dance?
So to be fair, that was down to our, my mother and father-in-law, so Marty's mum and dad. They taught us to dance. When did we start doing it?
A long time before.
Yeah.
But then we practiced a few times, and then we kind of
forgot about it.
Yeah, and we left it and thought, right, come on, we need to start practicing it.
And then we didn't practice it on the lead up to the few weeks before the wedding, and it was the day before the wedding. We was like, we actually haven't practiced our dance in ages. I can't remember the dance. So we had a bit of a panic that evening, the day before the wedding, where we practiced it a few times before. Oh yeah, we got this. And it actually come to the wedding day when we were doing our first dance, and we forgot a key part of the dance, and then I slipped over on my dress as well, because obviously I hadn't practiced in my dress before, and I literally just fell on my knees, which was quite funny.
It wasn't noticeable, and I think you recovered pretty well from it. And then obviously at the end, Marty lifted you up, and it was just a fantastic way to end. And it just looked really, really good. I mean, so poor old Marty had a song to learn, a speech, and a dance. So fair play to you, mate. Well done.
He had the easy parts of the wedding.
Yeah. So talking about what sort of thing I kind of do is, like, as we talked about, is in regards to your video. Now I gave you some, I said, right, when we're going to do this video, we're going to put it together. I need some song choices of you guys. Did you kind of know what sort of songs that would fit into your day?
100%.
Yeah, it was always kind of songs throughout our relationship, really.
That meant something to us.
And most of them are songs that I would sing to you, aren't they, really? That I kind of learned on the guitar and stuff, and then I'd be singing them because I'm not that great on the guitar and I don't know many songs. I just repeated them few songs.
Yeah.
Few other songs in parts of our lives, weren't there? Like little things, wasn't it? One Direction.
Yeah, One Direction.
And things like that.
Just all of these songs just remind us, well, in a corny way, just reminds me of Marty.
Yeah.
Because it'd be a Sunday evening where we'd both be sat on the sofa and he'd just like get his guitar out and he'll just start singing some songs, and
nice.
I'd sneakily filming him, and they were the best days. But you've not done that in a while now, have you?
No, retired.
He's retired. He's packed the ukulele up.
All
of our
songs were, well, we picked them, didn't we? So we knew exactly what songs we wanted.
Yeah.
I think it really helps. I mean, especially with what I do with video side, is if, just say, for example, I say this to my bride and grooms, if you've got 2 or 3 songs you really love, but you're not sure which you want for your first dance, just say you pick one, then them other 2, you don't, you're worried that you're not going to have them in your video. You will. You just need to tell me, and then I can put them in there for you. And I think that's a really important thing to have in your video, because if them songs do mean something to you, but not as much as they mean to you to have it as a first dance, it's really special to still have. If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, we're at that time of the show, guys. I'm going to bring Leo in. He has a question for you. Now, if you've heard the shows, and I know you have heard the shows, for the rest of the season that we've done, Leo asked a question to the 9 suppliers that came before you. Obviously, you guys aren't suppliers, but he has got a question for you. So if you're happy, I'm going to bring Leo in now. He's going to ask you this question, and then we'll go from there. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bear in mind, this is coming from the mind of a 10-year-old, and I say this every week because it's just how his mind works. So, okay, I'm going to get Leo in now, and we'll go from there.
If you were to do your wedding day again, is there anything you would do differently?
Well, hi Leo. Thanks for the question.
Thank you, Leo.
I don't feel like probably the only one thing for me, but I suppose I wouldn't have known is my wedding suits being made out of tweed on like the hottest day of the year.
Yeah.
Because originally we were meant to get married in May, so it was in May. Sometimes it's warm, sometimes it isn't. So tweed would have been alright, but in the middle of summer, it was it was tough for all of us.
I can imagine that must have been really hot for you, mate.
Yeah, I think for me, there is only a couple of things that I would have changed. So during me walking down the aisle with my dad, I had it in my head that Martin was going to turn around. We rehearsed this with Rebecca. She was going to tell him when he was meant to turn around. And obviously with Rebecca not being there, I didn't actually meet the new celebrant to actually remind her to tell Marty to turn around, because I wanted him to see me as soon as I'm at the top of the kind of like the walkway, the aisle, to turn back and look at me. So that was a big part of what I wanted in our wedding. And we got to the top, he hadn't turned around. No one was telling him to turn around, and I was walking down this aisle and I wasn't smiling. And I was like, what are you doing? Turn around, turn around. And even in our wedding video, you can see me clearly telling him to turn around. And so I think I probably would have controlled myself and just went with the flow rather than actually having what I wanted in my head. That's one thing that I would change. And I think the only other thing that I would change is just the day. I wish, and Marty's going to kick me for saying this, I do wish that we had waited another year until, like, everything. You can see his face right now. I think we probably should have waited just a little bit longer. But I would, as part of the wedding day goes, I would not change a single thing. It was the best day.
Yeah. And as I said, you had the weather as well, and it was July, and like we were at the end of that end point of where, where all the restrictions were gone, as we said at the beginning. So it was still an absolutely perfect day, and for me, it's one of my all-time favourite weddings. That's one of the reasons I got you guys on here to film, and it was just such an amazing day, and there was all sorts of emotion. There was, laughter, there was tears. It literally had everything, your wedding, and I'm not just saying that, guys, because you're on here. I'm saying that because there's certain weddings that I filmed that you remember, So you'll certainly will always be one that I'll always take with me, and I consider it a complete privilege to film such a lovely day,
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Well, honestly, we're so glad that we had you, and we keep on saying everything happens for a reason, and I am glad that our previous videographer cancelled on us and can accommodate our new day, and we ended up with you, because I wouldn't change a single thing that you did for us. You was just perfect. Our wedding video was just perfect.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
No, thank you. So I do have one final question I'd like to ask you. Now, this last question is, I want you to give some advice to bride and grooms who are looking to get married. What would you tell them they need to do? How would they go about starting their journey?
So just go with it. I think just choose your venue, choose your suppliers, and then obviously choose your date. But if things don't work out, or if things don't quite go your way, don't worry about it. Just have the best day of your life, and it is over so quickly. There's this massive build up of your wedding. You 3 years before your wedding day comes. And, there's so much excitement and so much, anxiety on the lead up to it. And, speaking as a bride, you just want everything to be perfect. But it got to the actual wedding day and it didn't matter what would have happened. We had people not show up. I didn't care. Everyone that was there just meant everything to me. And you just let go of anything that doesn't quite go right. And, no one knows how you planned your wedding. So if things don't quite go right, then no one's going to know. The only person that's going to know is you. So, just don't stress over silly little things. Just go with it.
I would say enjoy it instead of getting stressed over it. Just enjoy it, because like we had a lot of things go wrong just before the actual wedding day, and actually, like Sarah got upset about them, which was natural, but actually it all worked out, and you wouldn't know how it was before. And everyone's wedding, everyone I've spoke to that's got married, their wedding days are perfect for them. And I'm sure things have gone wrong on their wedding day, or running up to it, or people not turning up. And there's so much love and happiness in the air that no one even thinks of anything else, to be honest.
So the best advice you'd sort of say is just, you can plan it. This is what I'd kind of say from what I got from what you've just said there. You can plan it within an inch of your life, but if something goes wrong, it's out of your hands. All you can do is go with the flow and just enjoy and make the most of everything that has gone right. Do you think that's probably the best bit of advice?
Yeah, absolutely. You explained it better than what I did.
Yeah, that's what I kind of got from it. But yeah, no, it's one of them things, isn't it? And as I said to you previously in the show, it does go quick, and that's one bit of advice I'd give to bride and groom. So just make the most of that day. Just as I said, what Marti just said, just to reiterate, because it's that one moment, and your day is filled with lots of lovely, amazing moments, and just for a start, just having all your family and friends there, that doesn't happen every day, does it? So that, again, that's an amazing part as well.
I think it made it even more special because it was literally just coming out of COVID, and no one had been to a party, and then it was our wedding, and that's when everyone came together, and it was like nice to see everyone, because there was restrictions on travel, there was restrictions on like even going to certain parts of the country, so everyone together, and this was like the first party. It was it made it more special.
It was a big party.
Absolutely.
A big expensive party.
Absolutely. Well, guys, I think it's time to wrap the show up, and I just wanted to say a massive thank you to you both for giving up your time to talk to me today. And hopefully your advice and everything we've talked about hopefully can help some future bride and grooms, with their planning. And, just as I said, the advice is just, if you haven't done it, if you're new to this and you haven't done it, then hearing from other people about how they did theirs can hopefully be some real inspiration for them. So yeah, thank you guys again. Thank you for coming on. Well, take care, guys. All the best, and good luck with everything in the future. No worries. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Marti.
Thank you.
Well, guys, that is it. That is the season of the Wed-Cast wrapped up. I hope you have enjoyed it. Well, I say it's wrapped up. This is where I think, shall I do maybe one more in a couple of weeks' time, or should I do a special? I'm thinking maybe, so just watch this space. However, season 2 is coming, winter. That's all I'm going to say. I don't know a date yet, I don't know, but I've had suppliers already approach me for season 2, so it will happen, it is going to happen, it will come, but I have an idea for a one-off special episode, which I might do in the near future, so stay tuned on the Facebook, the Instagram, and keep an eye out. Yeah, there is an idea I have had, so just I'm not going to say much more, but Leo will be involved, he always is. So yeah, thanks again to all my amazing guests from episode 1 even up to today, episode 10. It's been absolutely wonderful to see your points of view from the wedding industry, see different sides and see different things that you all do, and obviously of course the lovely Sarah and Marti for today's show, and also Leo, because I couldn't do it without him. So stay tuned, guys. I will be back soon. I promise season 2 is coming this winter, and possibly an episode before that. But yeah, all the best, guys. Have a fantastic year. Have a fantastic wedding season. If you're getting married, don't forget filmedia.co.uk, your #1 place for wedding videography. I'll see you all, guys, very soon. I'll catch you on the flip. Bye.